and the worth of your currency going down. Your numbers in terms of inflation, your cost of simply living. That's how they're doing it. And it's, the effects feel just as bad, every bit as bad as if the government was doing it, because whoever's emptying out your pockets, you know it. And that's how it is here in California. And I myself personally, my situation is really liberal. I have a great deal where I'm living, and I feel so much pain for everybody and their kids out there, my kids out there paying these high rents. I mean, what happens if you become handicapped? You're not strong enough to do these anymore. You get old. I mean, to pay the rent anymore and to hold 2 or 3 jobs, whatever it takes, or work these long hours. I mean, society's got to figure out this all falls, and the government steps in there. Well, the social welfare programs, because they know that they have a guilty conscience. They've facilitated, they've encouraged the increase in real estate costs, housing costs. Okay, so they're exacerbating the problem. They got the welfare problem, like Section 8, that just pays to the landlord instead of to the poor person who could go out there and compete for that rental dollar. And so the problems just get worse and worse, and it's just pathetic. And the people go into jail. I mean, they commit a crime because they're financially desperate, and then it costs the taxpayers over $50,000 a year per inmate here in California. I mean, we're in bad shape here. So, I'm not an alarmist, and I'm not a negativist. Ultimately, I know the good guy's going to win this thing, but I'm just saying we all have to wake up. Just before I came here, I was watching. Rob Dew is down in Costa Mesa, I think it is, and another reporter or two, and he is Josh Owens, and they're covering Trump's first appearance in Costa Mesa, I guess. And, they got all these riot cops on horses, and you got the two sides, and you got the Bernies with the F word, And it's so ugly to me what's happened. And I know this much, that Satan, okay, whatever this entity is, if it's invisible or whatever, it loves the division. It loves the hatred. It loves the abject frustration that people are, and they're at each other's throats, when really, if they sat down and talked about these things, they'd say, well, we're a lot closer in our beliefs than we thought. Okay? And I'm telling people, yes, that's true. You can have your cake and eat it too. But you can't let Satan have a good belly laugh to the point where his ribs are hurting now. I'm not happy about that, and that's what's going on in America. I want the best. I don't agree with Trump on a lot of stuff. I don't agree with the wall. I think it's stupid. Has he ever heard of shovels, bulldozers? I mean, there's a million and one ways to get around a wall, okay? And then the torture, he's wrong. That's a stupid idea. It doesn't work. It's been proven it doesn't work. And it's inhumane. It goes against the Geneva Convention. It's wrong, and we've got to set a moral example. We're Americans, okay? We got to take the moral high road here. And privacy, yes, people should be safe in their effects. That's the Fourth Amendment. So yes, people deserve to be private. What they do online is just the same as they used to do in the parcel post, mailing a letter, okay, before we had a telephone, okay? So yes, they should absolutely be safe in their effects. You're causing the terrorism all over the world. All your policies, all your pseudo failed economic policies that are supposed to create democracy and justice and all this, they're actually the opposite. That's how these people operate. They're causing our problems. Who said, order out of chaos? This is it. Problem, reaction, solution. Diocleses or something, I can't remember the guy's name, but this is the way they operate. They prescribe to these kind of philosophies. They want problems. The problems give them relevance. All these crises, all the chaos around the world, in your country, in your state, in your county, in your city, okay, in your neighborhood, next door to where you live, they're creating the problem. If you hear some family fighting, domestic and all this, there's nothing more disheartening than hearing this, especially if it's over something financial. But how many breakups, how many divorces, how many broken homes are attributable to financial reasons? Because of oppression. This is where the tyranny is. This is where the terrorism is. Figure it out, folks. So any of you out there that say, oh, this guy, he's idealistic, you want to poo-poo the stuff I'm saying, well, what are your ideas? How are you going to fix the wealth disparity? How are you going to turn it around? Okay, because isn't that what we want? Isn't you got to be cut and dried? You got to be clear in your thinking. Are you saying that the wealth disparity is okay? And that, well, then this guy says, yeah, well, I think the wealth disparity should be way the hell over here. You've got no standing. You've got no power. Okay, you voted and you're on the side of wealth disparity. There's only two sides here. So if you're not on the side of wealth disparity, then by default you're on the right side. You're on the good guy side. You're on the side that says, look, if the society doesn't break down, if there's universal prosperity, then who the hell am I to suggest we need to keep the slaves down and whip them into shape like they teach in economics classes? Well, we got to keep the people hungry. Yes, it's intentional impoverishment. And yeah, I heard this stuff, just 6, 8 years ago when I was taking these classes. And I think, you know what? No, maybe 10 years now. But the point is that, they come up with this crap that, this spurs innovation when they keep people hungry. That's their idea, okay? Now, but the climatologists, these freaks out there, these hypocrites out there, okay, that are suppressing the clean energy technology, that are spraying our skies and blaming humanity, these depopulationists with the Georgia Guidestones and all this, their context is, well, we've got to make you poor because it's to save the earth. We've got this altruistic philosophy that we're adhering to here. So, this is for the greater good of not humanity anymore, but for the earth. And that's a more important purpose, because if we lose the earth, we lose everything. So these are the logical ones, right? These are the ones that want to have people arrested for denying the climate change hoax. When the reality is there's a lot more brilliant scientists out there who will tell you it's all bull. And these people that are telling you it's man-made and that's all that, well, they won't talk about the chemtrailing. They're just going to say, we have to do this, and it's all clandestine, it's surreptitious, it's under the radar, the mainstream media, we can't let them know because we don't want to be liable. If we do, we accidentally dropped a bioweapon today, but we gave a heads up to all our lackeys and minions out there that believe in the climate change hoax. And so they moved to a different city for the day. Well, we sprayed this metropolitan area and killed all the people there. I mean, there's a number of things they can do. And these people, these depopulationists know it, and they like that idea. They say, free up the freeways. Like Bill Maher telling, hey, whatever it takes, man, to free up the freeways, as long as it's good for me, I don't care. That's how it is. They've abandoned conscience. These are inhuman people, okay? They have proven it by their fruits over and over and over. If you're on the side of right and truth and light and humanity, and you say that you love your fellow man, then you've got to do something. You've got to speak out when you see injustice. You can't be indifferent. You can't be complacent to other people suffering. You can't say, well, it's not my problem. We can't do that. You can't and expect to inherit a better world, okay? You won't be found worthy. You won't be found deserving. So this is a dire warning, okay? God can forgive all your sins, but you can't live in them. You've got to acknowledge them, confess them, and do something to change it. It doesn't matter how many times you fall into it. You've got to let God pull you out of it, dust you off, forgive you, cover you with the blood of Jesus, and then you go on. You carry on with your life, and you stand up and you do what you can for God and man, to try to leave a better world for your children and their children, his children, her children, our offspring. We are children of God, and we need to be proper reflections, proper representations, and go out there and fight the good fight and try to wake people up. Try to pull, some people you got to snatch out of the flames when you see, look, Satan's got a hold of this person. They're possessed by demons. They're not seeing what's going on here. They're not seeing that Satan is the one that's got us at each other's throats. It's not socialism, okay? So that's a very subjective loaded term. It's not Democrats. It's not Republicans. These are subjective. The Democrats used to be the conservatives. The Republicans used to be the liberals. I mean, these things all change at will. There's no solid footing here. It's all a bunch of bull to create division. They want us divided. Capitalism, they'll say, we'll say, well, no, it's not capitalism, what's been going on in America. I know what's turned you socialistic. Nothing happens in a vacuum. It's all cause and effect. One thing leads to another. For every action, there's an equal though opposite reaction. Isaac Newton, it's all science. We all know that. We all know that these people have created the communist movement, the socialist movement. And it's very draconian. It's very fascist, where you've still got a handful of elites controlling everything. It's even worse than what we have. So we've got to explain to these people, yeah, but you say it's crony capitalism. Well, capitalism is in that word. But they've never bothered to look it up. Oh, what is that, old man's capital? No, they don't understand. It's price rigging. It's collusion, special interest groups. It involves the government going against the best interests of the people. It's very pernicious. It's very serious. Yet saying capitalism at all with crony is just a calling card. It's just a guise, okay? Because it has nothing to do with capitalism. Capitalism is supply and demand. It's free market, okay? It is sound currency. It is progress. It is drying up the wealth disparity. It is sharing the prosperity of the land, not among some, but by everybody. To share the prosperity and the power, to set the captives free. That's liberty. That's freedom. That will lead to security and safety and happiness and contentment and joy for everybody. And that's what it has to be. It has to be an all-inclusive thing.